Welcome to this module. So in this module, we'll be looking at a step-by-step algorithm for the tic-tac-toe game that we'll be creating. That is a tic-tac-toe AI game. So before you create any app or software, it's better to write down an algorithm of how you're going to go about creating it. And you'll also streamline your programming process that way. So let's write a quick step-by-step algorithm of how our tic-tac-toe AI app is created. So first of all, we'll be looking at the initial states. So this is what we'll be creating first of all in our JavaScript code. So when we create the program, we need to check whether a box is filled to ensure it isn't filled again. Also, we need to keep track of what's filled in each box, which will be used when we check for winners. So we'll be initializing an array which will store false against all the 9 fields to denote that all the squares are initially not filled. Later, we'll make these values true as and when they are filled. So when someone tries to draw on a square that has the value true, they'll get the error alert that we'll be creating later on. We'll also be initializing another array with blank spaces to again indicate that the squares have nothing. So later on, we'll be filling this array with X's and O's to denote which symbol each of the square holds. Finally, we'll be setting up the winning conditions. In tic-tac-toe, you win if you manage to draw on 3 consecutive squares, either diagonally, horizontally, or vertically. So in this 9-square game, we only have 8 win states. These squares are numbered from 1 to 9. So accordingly, the win states would be 1, 2, 3, like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 1, 4, 7, and then 2, 5, 8, or 3, 6, 9, or 1, 5, 9, or 3, 5, 7. Let me show you a diagram so I can depict how all of that works. So let's assume this is our tic-tac-toe game board, and these are the boxes on which our players can draw on. So I've numbered them from 1 to 9, and as you can see, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. So if each of those are consecutively filled by one player, the player wins. So 1, 2, 3, that's 1 win state, and there's 4, 5, 6, that's the second win state, and then there's 7, 8, 9, which is the third win state, this. Or it's 1, 4, 7, which is vertically, first vertical win state, or it's 2, 5, 8, second vertical win state, or it's 3, 6, 9, which is the third vertical win state. Finally, for the diagonal win states, it's 1, 5, 9, or 3, 5, 7. As you can see, there are 8 different states. The first player who matches against any one of those states wins. So we'll be storing these states in a 2-dimensional array while initializing. I've already taught you what an array is and what a 2-dimensional array is in our JavaScript basics section. So if you haven't looked at that, or if you've forgotten how that works, then please refer to it again. Okay? So this is just a brief overview of what we'll be doing in our first step of our game. So that's the first step. The second step is drawing the X's and the O's. Player 1 is X and player 2 is O, as you already know. So the 2 players' chances alternate in the game. We keep track of whose turn it is by incrementing a variable called turn, every time a player plays. The odd turns are for player X and the even turns are for player O. Then, based on whose turn it is, we use the canvas functions, that is the HTML5 canvas functions, to draw the X's and O's on the boxes. So that's step 2. Now for step 3, we'll be checking who wins. So as you already know, there are 8 different winning combinations, and when one of the player matches one of those combinations, they win. Every time a player finishes their turn, the game app that we'll be creating checks the conditions and displays who wins if a match is found. That is, if a winning match is found. Also, The squares should not allow users to draw on the same game again once someone wins. So after someone wins, that's it. There should be no more drawing on the board at all. Because now they should start a new game. So if the game is over and if someone tries to draw on any of the leftover squares, that is on any of the squares that haven't been drawn when the game was still on, then the app will display another error alert telling them to start the game again because the game's over. Now, if there was no match found at all after checking with all of the winning combinations, then the game continues as usual. I also want to tell you that this function will be called a lot of times from inside other codes, because every time a turn happens, this function is going to be called. So it's going to be called at a maximum of 9 times because there are a maximum of 9 turns in the tic-tac-toe game. So that's the first part of our step-by-step algorithm. We'll look at the other part of it in the next lesson. I'll see you there. Thank you.